All right, I think I should be live. Very good Monday to everybody once again. I guess this is my fifth week on this live Monday 9:30 p.m. session. So today's topic, I'll be looking into this upcoming Clayvon launch. I guess running up to this point, we have, if you have been following, you've been watching the videos, there's a lot of learning pointers and outcomes along the way. And I guess it should be handy for today's sharing. So it's like not too much information suddenly because a lot of stuff will be linked, it's kind of interlinked together. All right. So yes, let me go straight into it and bring out the information. Yeah. If you have friends, relative, family member who are keen to learn more, please feel free to share this and ask them to join in. All right. This will definitely be a very, very beneficial session. And as I'm doing this, I actually got quite excited because the more I uncover, the more facts that I found. Wow, it looks really, really exciting. Okay, so today, whoever that's with me, you're in for a treat. Okay, you're definitely not wasting your time. That's something I can promise you. Okay, critical look into the upcoming Clavon Clementi launch. We'll be looking at a few factors. I'll be guiding you through, looking at the entry price, the demand and supply in general, why the developer track record matters, and this very interesting high-rise effect on new launches. Simple disclaimer again, that it should not be solely relied upon. Everybody's situation and circumstance is very different. So if you have any questions privately, feel free to PM me also. Okay, first up, let me go into the concerns for Clayvon. You see, I don't like to paint everything as a bed of roses. Okay, obviously there's always pros and cons. Let's take on the concerns head on first. Generally, I would say there's a lack of direct transformation. All right, so you don't have something immediate next to you. If you're comparing the west side, I think something that's very exciting right now would be the Beauty World location, the transformation. So that kind of micro transformation, the sub-regional center, is something that is a direct, it has a direct transformation effect on the surrounding properties. For Clayvon, not as much. Later, I'll show you the location. I wouldn't say that it will ride along with the Jurong CBD or the Buona Vista Biopolis side. I think it's quite far. If you're going to include that, probably the entire west side will also benefit. So that is too macro already, because I want to find what's the differentiating factor. So in that sense, the direct transformation is kind of lacking over here. Where it's situated, it's also quite noisy in terms of the traffic, AYE, and even the Clementi roadside. Okay, and location, if you're familiar with where Clayvon is, it's not near to any amenities, or you talk about shopping malls or even MRT station. It's quite a distance away from Clementi MRT station, right? And probably you'll be thinking that it will be expensive. Okay, the official guideline of prices by the developer as of now, official, everything is very it's very new, fresh from the oven. The guideline is 1,004 for the bigger units, 1,004 plus from for the bigger units, and 1,005 XX PSF for the smaller units. So I think whatever pricing that we put out there, consumers will always err on the side of it being expensive. All right. So later we'll take a look in how we see whether this price, is it reasonable, is it expensive, or is it whether value buy. Okay. And in general, there's uncertainty about launch. Okay, for me, generally, I'm not always very pro brand new launches in that sense because of this uncertainty issue. Why? You're uncertain about the exact pricing. Yes, there's an official guideline, but from now up to the day of balloting, prices, it's really variable. You can the starting price and what is the middle floor pricing and the high floor pricing, sometimes it's also based on the demand that comes through, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of the information, in terms of the pricing. And when you're talking about a good launch like this, probably there's a lot of luck involved, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty. And when you're waiting for this, the uncertainty also comes together with opportunity cost. What will you miss if you have just put all your eggs into a basket for Clayvon? So this is one aspect that you should be aware of. And especially now, I think in just this weekend, Link sold very, very well, almost 100% sold out. Hopefully the developer will not be aggressive, but I guess it will make them a little bit more confident, which is not very good in terms for the buyers and consumer. All right, but when you look at all these things, I just want you to take note. It's generally people always look at that from an absolute perspective, meaning to say it's expensive. This price based on what? Okay, the question is always, what are you comparing? What is it relative to? You can't just take it as it is. The noise from the AYE, does it matter? The location, where is it located at? Although it's not MRT, near to MRT station, but does it really matter? Or is it just a comfort thing, or just your kind of ideology that you have with properties that may not be relevant into this market? We'll take a look shortly. Okay, so far, are you following? If you have any questions, again, please feel free to put inside the Zoom if you're in the Zoom, or if you're on my Facebook Live, please feel free to comment because there's some lag involved in it. So I will see as I go along. All right, so let's go straight into it. Take a look at the supply and demand side of things. Okay, so where is it located at? But before I show you the exact location, I just want to show you in general this Clementi area. When I look into this kind of things, you have to be very precise on where the location and how is it compared in this micro location per se. So this area that I'm highlighting over to showing you, it's the more western side or the slightly more northern side of this Clementi area that's nearer to the Jurong. What you'll notice over here is there are quite a number of condos. All right, so look at all this area. All these are even Whistler Glen, which is selling right now. And you have all these 999 condos over here, Infinity, Carabel, New West, 100 Trees, and even Park Clementi is also selling right now. And the older one, Regent Park and Trilink, and all the way at the Faber side. So in general, you can see there's quite a lot of supply. But even then, Park Clementi is doing well. I think some of them that went in early has already made a bit of a paper profit when the developer stage up the pricing. But when you look at all these, and then I show you where Clayvon is. Clementi MRT stations over here. Just now we were at the left-hand side. You'll see that where Clayvon is at this part of Clementi, the supply is much lesser. In fact, there's not many condos. Okay, the only one that TOP 1 year plus already is Clement Canopy over here. This plot of land, this map never stated correctly. Clayvon is located over here. So it carves out into two separate lands. So there's another empty land over here, and that's where the show flat is. This will be a future, most likely will be a condo. Okay, but it's not yet yet bidded by any developer or won by any developer. And then this piece of empty land that is next to Nanhua High School, this is an educational site on the master plan. So you can see this part, there's not many empty lands already, and the rest of it's either HDB or canopy, and mainly primary schools, and also the tertiary and the NUS college site, this entire area, which is where the rental hinterland is. Later I'll explain a bit more. So just based on this alone, from a very macro supply in this Clementi area, you can look that this is a more preferential site. All right. So the best indication will be Clement Canopy. Why? Because it is the same developer just next to it. How is it doing? How has it been doing? TOP around a year plus already. You can see their profitable transactions, and the profit is quite a lot. I remember back then when it first launched, a lot of people said this location very ulu, cannot walk to MRT station. but slowly people accepted it. So for those that went in early, I think really congratulate those people that went in early, because the pricing that they went in, you can see as low as 1,002 PSF. These are the bigger units. They exited for the big units even 1,005 PSF already. And the small units, the 2-bedroom is also around 1,007 PSF. That's established on the resale market, meaning to say people has already stamp authority of this pricing in this location. So I think this is a very, very good indication in terms of the supply side and how it's being confirmed by the existing supply. Okay, now we move on to the demand, which is very interesting. I'll show you this graph over here. I'm sorry to those who are not into a lot of data, but I need to show all these facts and figures. Hope you can just stay along with me. Okay, this chart shows the residential the private residential non-landed, and I split it into 3 different zones. Okay, one, it's the core central area. Core central region, for those that don't know, will be the 9, 10, 1, and 2, those right in the city center. Then you got the rest of core region. This will be just the outskirts of the city center. So this will be something like your Queenstown, your Marine Parade, your Bishan, your Thomson area, things like that. Okay, and then we have your OCR will be the rest of the area, the outskirts. And this includes, I put them together, new launches and the resale. I just put all together. I think it's just a general understanding of the market. You can see during this pandemic, firstly is, yes, the CCR and RCR are affected with the -8. But what you realize is that the OCR, instead of going down or stagnate, it even went up slightly. And Clementi is in this OCR location. All right, it's very interesting. What I can only infer from here is that this local demand, we're having a crisis of our lifetime. The local demand, it's still very, very strong. I would say local demand in terms of your Singaporean and your PR. And these people are generally doing what? They're doing upgrading after their BTO, they're buying. And when the local demand is strong, it actually is a good sign of the market. Okay. Because you don't want the entire market, you don't want your market, your property market to be dependent on the foreign purchaser. You want it to be very dependent on the local purchaser. If the local can support the prices, it means that the resale market will do well. So this to me is a good sign of the underlying strength of the market. And Clementi is also in the OCR location. So I think it's the demand would also be very strong from upgraders, those people that are looking for affordable and good homes. Okay, this chart is just to show you, it's one big topic on its own. So over here is just to show you during the subprime crisis, the fall was much steeper because of the more speculative activities back then. Okay, so this article also supports the trend. You must understand this demand trend in general. It's moving more to these heartland areas. You can see more expats are moving to the heartland in this latest October report as packages shrinks. Why? Because most of them are also very localized. And especially in Singapore, which is a city-state, when you have more MRTs coming up and you have more malls, decentralization brings me to this. When you have decentralization, that means the growth, you look at offices, you look at malls that are going into the heartland areas rather than being concentrated in the city center. Okay, so this is what is happening. That's why people don't mind going to this outskirt location. All right, you've got more localized foreigners, because of their shrinking expat packages, better amenities outside, and also international schools are also moving to the heartland areas. If you have not noticed, you've got the Canadian school, you've got the UWC in Tampines, Canadian school in Jurong, everywhere. You've got the French school all the way in Ang Mo Kio area. All right, of course, affordability is an issue over here in outskirt area. When you look at it in totality, when the amenities, the connectivity improve, people don't mind moving outside. Okay, and because also of the upgrader which are buying at this meantime. So the demand for this kind of location would be very, very strong. Okay, it's already confirmed by Clayvon Canopy. So moving on, we will take a look at the developmental attributes. You have been following my live session. You will understand that I put a lot of emphasis into developmental attributes. because every show flats are meant to sell. Okay, whether it's a show flat in Geylang, Telok Kurau, Woodlands, or or Clayvon, the show flat is always meant to sell. But how it can retain its value, I show you through Principal Garden, through a lot of other tembusu for freehold property. How it's able to retain its value, it's when on the resale market, buyers and tenants go into the development and feel for themselves how good is this place. Okay, this is very important, developmental attribute. So this is Clavon site map. Two towers, and in terms of landscaping, you can see almost maybe 70% of the land is for landscaping because of the building footprint that is very little. It's only 2 blocks on a high rise that's 37 story. A lot of it are facilities. This is a 50-meter lap pool that has a very wide breadth. Okay, so, and I mean, even look at the shape, right? In terms of feng shui, I think it also looks good because it is like pointed edge down. It's like you're spearheading forward, looking forward and spearheading forward. All right, and take a look at this. Okay, I'm not very into all these facilities and facade, but when I see this, I mean, I can't help but also kind of be a bit mesmerized by it. This is the entrance, the lobby after the guests or even yourself. You come down from the arrival court and then you walk into this development. The towers are at these two sides, this side and this side. But when you walk out, this is the facilities. You can't really see the end because this is actually a sloping land. So the facilities are built into a terrace shape. So from here, you can see the pool that has an infinity edge. So it's quite cool. And yeah, the infinity edge that looks down. And it's very nice in general. I think it's hard. It's hard to find such developments also. Okay, so these are very, very strong developmental attributes. And for UL standard, you definitely don't need to worry in terms of their finishing. All right, so let's move on to risk and reward. Okay, we'll be looking in terms of the entry price analysis and things like that. Okay, investment is actually quite simple. I put this, whether it's property investment, stock investment, or bond investment, right? It's always about weighing your risk and reward. If we separate it into quadrants, okay, the question you want to ask yourself is, which quadrant do you want to be at? Okay, I don't know if you have time to respond. Which quadrant do you think that you prefer to be in for investment? Okay, definitely, all right, definitely, this is the one that everybody wants to be in. Choice number one. But if you're given a second choice, would you want to be in this or in this? I think this will definitely be last, high risk and low reward. But so far, based on human behavior, and especially Asians like Singaporean, we are all very risk averse. And it's especially true in today's pandemic, right? That you want to protect your downside, you want the limited risk. So it's always about looking at this and this, focusing on reducing your risk, right? I always say that as long as you protect your downside, you can ensure your upside accordingly. All you have to do is protect your downside. So your focus over here is actually always finding a product that has the least risk. Of course, it will have some reward, but to me, risk management is the most important thing moving forward. Okay, so take a look at what's the risk involved for Clayvon here. When this chart compares the new launches, the pricing for the new launches in general, you look at which, and all these are on the west side, the average PSF pricing. So Whistler Grand, which is also selling in Park Clementi's, Whistler Grand is doing 1,004 plus. 1,004 plus. Park Clementi's is 1,006 plus. And when you move to the Bukit Timah area, the entry is already 1,006 plus. Even View at Kismis, a small development, is 1,007. Carriage Hill, it's towards the Pasir Panjang side. It's 1,007. And Sterling Residences, yes, it's a better location. It's almost 1,009 PSF. I remember Clayvon is coming in at 1,004 to 1,005. Okay, so from the looks at it, just comparing with new launch comparison, I don't think that it is priced very aggressively. And this is quite UOL style because they always come in slightly cheaper at the start. All right, I think if you are the developer and looking at what Penrose has done, Foret has done, Link has done so well, why would you want to sell at the current launches pricing if you are the newest launch on the market and bring such an exciting product? So if you are selling at a similar range with very little competition in the Clementi enclave I showed you just now, I think it makes sense because how risky can it be in that sense? Okay, so not just about comparing with new launch, you want to compare with the resale market, because resale market is the floor pricing, right? It's not really possible for new launch to be below resale. If not, the entire market dynamics will be very weird for a new lease to be selling cheaper than an older lease. But we also want to know if a new one is selling more expensive than the old one, is the premium worth it? Okay, and what's the difference in the premium between the new and the old? So look at the prices, the resale prices over there. Waterfront and Faber at the landed estate, which is also rather ulu and not a very good size not a very, very big development, is already 1,003 plus on the resale market. Park Riviera already TOP, it's at the Whistler Grand site, it's already 1,003 plus. Lakeview and Lake Grand, this is in Jurong, further west. And you have Trilink also in the Clementi area, which is 1,004 plus. This is resale has been transacting. You saw also Clement Canopy, I show you. There's a 2-bedroom that even hit 1,007 PSF. So if this is coming in at 1,004, 1,005, even if it's 1,005 to 1,006, or even 1,006 plus to reach 1,007 on a very, very good floor for a good product, and you look at the resale prices that has already ascertained the floor pricing there, it seems like Clayvon is not really selling a very, very future pricing, because I think if you know the market, there's a lot of other launchers that are selling a way future pricing. Although right now the pricing is like this, they're selling 20 to 30% higher premium. Okay. Then the other safety mechanism will be looking at the rental demand over there. So the best gauge again, will be looking at Clement Canopy, the same developer, and next to it only. So what is the rental doing there? 1 year plus TOP. Usually we know when a development TOP, it's always very hard to rent because there's an influx of so many units on the market. But within a year or so, it has been absorbed. 11 pages of rental, you can see. And all these transaction dates, these are not half a year ago. This is true circuit breaker and up to the phase 2 right now. Very healthy. The rental may not be top of the top, but important thing when you're in a hard time like this is about having the transaction. That means people still want to rent there no matter what. Although maybe the prices is not as good because there's many units within a year. But this is just one side of the picture. Usually we always know, hey, what is transacted over there. But actually the rental demand, the other side of the picture that you want to be very sure how is the entire situation like, is to look what are the units available on the market. Okay, this is a very good clue, because it may have already done a lot of transaction, but because you have a lot of unit and maybe the turnover, the lease is very short, at that point of time, if there are still a lot of units on the market for rent and they cannot find a tenant, then it's not a good sign. Okay, let's see for Clement Canopy. Okay, this is Property Guru, which represents quite strongly the overwhelming share of the entire property market in Singapore. Okay, look at that. They only have 12 units for rent, and I took this a few days ago only when I was doing up this presentation. 12 units for rent, and if you're very seasoned in the market, 12 units for rent may not be 12 units because some of them are duplicated. Some of them, the agents are lazy to remove the expired listing. So there might be only 6 to 8 units. And if you are separating between a 1 bedroom to 3 bedroom, let's say 4 bedroom is for own stay, 1 bedroom to 3 bedroom, maybe for one unit type, there's only 1 or 2 units available. This shows the rental demand. This is a better gauge of the rental demand. And this is not a 50 units development. Clavon Clementi is a 505 units development. It's a good sizable development. All right. So what does this show? Just now I talked about some of the concerns, right, about not being near a more MRT station. But does it matter, right? Because these are common concerns that comes to people immediately because we are very accustomed in Singapore to be living next to the MRT station. But why does it matter if it can be rented out? That's my point. All right. So we have to really open our eyes and look at all these facts and figures out there to make better judgment of a product. All right. So moving on, we touched a lot about the risk. I think as up to now, you can kind of agree with me, your risk coming in with this product is very, very low. What about the rewards? I think everybody would want to know more about this. And this chart says everything about Clayvon. Okay, this is the UOL's track record, all the last 5 years of new launches in the market. Take a look at them, all right? We have a very recent one that is still selling right now and selling very well. It's 1,000 units, Avenue South Residences at this top end. You can see it is already around 50% sold and already 12+% up in prices, even through the pandemic. If people ask me whether UOL reduced the price for their launches, actually right now they're also selling Trevor, which is up by 5.8%. Whether they reduced price, they didn't. Okay, the fact is they didn't reduce price at all. They maintained the price. We are only lucky that the pandemic came. That's why they never increased the price. Okay, but the fact because Avenue South is a high floor, later I'll explain more the high rise effect. Why the prices can go up. Those people that came in 1 year ago in the late 2019, the prices really, I think you already gained quite a fair bit, and coming up through now with the recovery, I think the demand is even stronger. So these are the two that's selling on the market. Why Trevor is not doing that well? When you compare, I mean, ultimately it's still positive. We just want to be very particular because the rest are doing double digit and Trevor is only 5.8%. Probably because of the competition around there. And also it's not really a high rise. And probably it haven't reached the TOP. Because usually when you're buying the new launches, there's these two effects, right? One is the developer staging up the pricing. And then upon TOP, as an owner yourself, as the buyer yourself, you want to sell at a premium, maybe a 5 to 10% more. That's why they can register stores that have already TOP for some time, 12% all the way up to 23%. And the 23% is Principal Garden, which I talked about last week. It's not a cheap product. Look at it. It was launched at 1,006 to 1,007. It has reached above 2,000 per square foot. Not cheap, and not small size unit. So the quantums are also fairly large. So this really shows in terms, if you're looking for reward, if you want to come in early, whether it's this stage or even in the middle stage, right? I can tell you based on this precedence, I'm not a crystal ball, nobody's a crystal ball. I can't say 100%, but I can say with a very high likelihood that you won't lose money and you will stand to gain a lot. That's if your ballot is good. Okay? Yeah. All right. So let's move on with what I call this the high-rise effect. Okay, example over here, a high-rise effect. Okay, just now I mentioned about when people buy the new launch, I think most of you all have already known it's because you want to make the capital appreciation. When the developer as a single seller, you see the difference here, although it has 500 or even 1,000 units, when in the resale market, there are 500 different sellers, right? But when the developer is selling, there's only one seller. So this seller, and is a good developer, is a strong seller, is able to maintain whatever price growth that this seller wants to do. The control is there. That's why the developer is able to stage out the pricing. So when it is a high rise, right, the staging of the pricing, as just now you can see with Avenue South, it is more substantial in that sense, because from the low floor, You can see Sterling Residences, the third floor unit, all the same stack 32, from 1.35 all the way, let's say, sell until here now, which is still selling, 1.546. You are looking at what, almost 200K of difference that has already been earned in terms of the same unit. Yes, although it's higher, but later I'll show you in the resale market what is the phenomenon that's happening. Okay, so this is one high-rise effect. Then we look at also Whistler Grand. Also same thing. Sorry, it's a bit small. I just show you here. This is the fourth floor unit at 1 million, 1.03, and 36th floor is the, let's take 35th floor, because 36th floor, I think they got the airspace, that's why the unit size is bigger. So it's 1.227. So it's also what? 200K, right? The high-rise effect. When you come in low, I'm not asking you to buy the lowest floor lah. Maybe if your value is very good, you go in. I think the premium is the 5 to 15 floor lah. That's the best. It's also easier to sell out next time. But this is one-time high-rise effect. Then there's another high-rise effect I want you all to take note over here. Remember, this pricing increase is only because of the floor level. So developer also will increase the price in general. When they say, okay, I'll decide to increase by 1%. So all the prices will also increase. That's why you see, you compare fourth floor over here and third floor. Because this fourth floor bought a bit earlier, this third floor is a bit later. Can you see the third floor is actually more expensive than the fourth floor? This is 1.04. This is 1.03. Okay, can you see? That means in general, the price also increased besides having this high-rise effect. So it's a two times effect when you are very, very high rise. Then you look at maybe let's see, what are the floors? Yeah, look at 12th floor, 1.07 million. And then later part, the 8th floor is sold. I don't know why, maybe it will jump out or what. But 8th floor is more expensive at 1.08 million. Can you see? Although lower floor definitely must be cheaper, but because it was sold later in February 2020, as compared to this one that's almost 1 year ago. So high-rise effect, okay, remember a high-rise effect for a good launch, good developer, a new launch, it will have 2 times the effect of price increment if you come in early to the middle stage as compared to the last stage. All right, I think this is explained over here. That's why the reward is quite rewarding in that sense. Okay, so Avenue South, this is a UOL developer, same, just like I showed you, and it's still currently selling. It's a good, very, very good development. This has 56 stories. So if you buy in now at 20, 30 story, you still have a bit of high-rise effect because it has 56 stories. Okay, you look at it, your third floor, 1.277. Right now, 37th floor is almost 280K difference. And we still haven't finished because for 56 story. Okay, because no matter what, you'll be thinking, if everybody follow my theory, then everybody buy on the low floor. But the fact is, right, some people, if they're really buying for own stay and they got the money, right, once you go in, they love the view, they'll still buy one. I'm just saying this from a very perfect situation, a very, very objective point of view, how money is made, if you look at it this way. Okay, so this is what developers will do for you, but it is also paper profit. So what happens when it comes on to the resale market? This would be the interesting part, right? What has been ongoing for some of these launches that has already reached the resale market. So this is Commonwealth Towers, okay, probably maybe 3-4 years already since DOP. Stack 7, Stack 6, you can see Stack 7 and Stack 6, these are both 2-bedroom, same facing, same size. The lower floor one actually made more money than the higher floor one. Okay, I repeat, the lower floor one, level 3, level 7, made more money 300 over 1,000 as compared to 100 over 1,000 for the higher floor units because of their purchase price. So why is this so, right? So if you understand how it works just now, I briefly already explained. During the developer phase of selling, right, there's only one seller that controls the pricing. Every floor level, they jump 4K, 10K, or 15K, whatever they do. It's very, very systematic. But once you reach the resale market, you must understand that there's different sellers with different objectives. And valuation also is a little bit more tricky because on the ground, you find that actually valuation, they don't really price in every floor jump and then every floor the price increment. Maybe in general, they say that this is a high floor, super high floor, or mid floor. Then there's a slight premium for the valuation of the unit. But there's no distinct jump in value. And then when consumers like yourself, when they go to the resale market, they only rely on historical transactions. And there's an absence of a lot of data because maybe there's only transacted a few units and it's in between the floors. You don't have all the floors there. So somehow the pricing will not follow suit from the developer pricing matrix to the resale market. And ultimately, you can see it's already reflected over here. It's all around the same valuation if it's the same unit type, the same facing. Of course, there are some that also sell at a higher price, but if the fact is, if there are examples like this, it shows that these are what is also happening in the market. Not just that, you can look at Helion Residences. Okay, this is in the all on the west side. Helion Residences, stack 14, the 7th floor unit, right, is making more profit than the 17th floor unit. Eco Sanctuary also, the 7th floor unit, all the same stack. It's making more than the 21st floor unit. The 3rd floor unit also, 100 plus thousand. You can see, so these are some of the anomalies that's happening. So if you get something, a good low floor unit, probably your chance of making a better delta as compared to the high floor unit, it's there. Okay? And we take the most relevant example. This is Clavon Canopy. Those few units that transacted at the resale market, you can see that the top two that are highlighted over here, these are 4-bedroom units. They are not on the same stack. They are 4 bedrooms. They are opposite facing, but very distinct difference. I think the facing in general is quite open view. One is maybe you can say pool facing, facility facing. One is a high floor facing. But I won't say you're facing something ugly or what. There's not much differentiating factors between these two stacks. The main differentiating factor is the floor level. One is on the 27th floor, one is on the 4th floor. Okay, but the 4th floor actually made slightly more money than the 27th floor, which is also quite rare, right? Which is also quite weird in that sense. If you can spend lesser money to get the same amount of profit or even slightly more, your ROI is higher. I don't need to make a lot more than a high floor unit. All you have to do is make the same amount of money. Right, your ROI is higher because your purchase price is lower. I repeat again. Okay, so this is the high-rise effect. For good development, again, for good development, a good new launch that you come in at the initial to the mid stage, you write a 2 times price growth, a 2 times staging of pricing. One is because of floor level. Second is because of developer increasing the price in general. And coming out, if you put this thing into the macroeconomy side, right, you will see that coming out from the recovery, coming out from a stronger demand, I think there's a high likelihood that this will happen. Okay, so far so good. Now I want to go a little bit deeper. Sorry, I'm already a little bit OT in my timing, but I'll just give, for those who are staying with me up to now, I'll just give you a bit more information, because for me, actually for all that, it's actually enough to make a decision whether it's a good buy or not. But I want to look even deeper into it, because it's sitting next to Clavon Canopy. I want to look at it from a micro perspective, whether my product is it differentiated. All right. Clayvon is 178,000 square feet of land, slightly bigger than Clement Canopy. Same 2 blocks, also high-rise, 37 to 40 story. More units in general, but not too many to reach the 1,000 units when it can be a little bit dense. It still has I'll say it's a good size. You got a good number of units to share the maintenance cost. When your developmental attributes is so beautiful, I can tell you, you need at least 300-400 units to share the maintenance cost. Then it makes it worthwhile. So this units mix is quite okay. But here comes the good part that I think UOL does it very, very well. I really like UOL as a developer a lot among all the top developers in Singapore. You look at, even though there's only like 2 developments over there, Clement Canopy and this upcoming Clayvon, because it's the same developer, the developer never go and clash their own units, even though they already finished selling Clement Canopy. They want to make Clayvon a differentiated product so that everybody can benefit in that sense. I think that's something that's quite generous in their mindset. You see, there is no 1 bedroom over here, but you have a 1+ study for the upcoming Clayvon. Not a 1 bedroom, but 1+ study. Probably in this area, you need a bit more space. So I think it's very nice. And then when you look at the 2, 3, 4, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and 4 bedroom, later I'll show you the size. Obviously, you still need that unit mix and the kind of size to make it affordable. But how the layout is also a little bit different. Okay, you see. So there's no 1 bedroom for Clement Canopy. If you you take a look over here first. Clayvon, the 1+ study, 537 square feet. I tell you, this product will be very hot, without a doubt, because there's no competition and the rental demand, just now I show you, has already been proven. Actually, if you're buying Clement Canopy maybe 3 years ago, you might be a bit scared because there's an untested market. But now, how Clayvon is entering the market, is you already got a tested product down there, but you're entering without a lot of supply. Okay, so it's actually a great positioning if you're considering Clayvon. 1+ study, look at this layout. This study is not a study corner. And this study can be an extension of your bedroom, or you can close it up also and turn it into a guest room, storeroom, baby's room, playroom, because it can be entered from outside and also from the bedroom. Most of the study is probably extension from here or extension from here. That's only accessible from one side. All right, so this is something that's quite unique. And this is the attention to details that you can see. You've been following my episodes also. I'm very, very detailed and very concerned with this layout, the importance of layout. Of course, the bathroom, there's 2 entrances. So I think this 1+ study will be very, very hot. And it's a very, very practical size, not too small. So we look at the 2 bedroom. This is the smallest 2 bedroom. This is the 2 bedroom compact. So the 2 bedroom compact, even the Clement Canopy has already done very well. 2 bedroom compact on the market that has an enclosed kitchen, or you can call it a semi-enclosed kitchen because it's not covered up. It's very rare already, because most of it will be just 1 row of open concept kitchen just after you open the main door. All right. But if you look at it over here, Clayvon, they also must have this kind of concept, and it's also a dumbbell shape, which is the most efficient, but even more efficient now. Can you see that there is, over here, there's some walkway? But these 2 compact, there is no walkway at all. This 678 square feet is pure usable space. Once you open up, you got this entire area, which is actually a walkway, come usable space, your living, your dining. You can even carve out probably a study corner over here. And look at the size of this kitchen for a 2 bedroom compact. There's only the compact is only 1 toilet. Premium is 2 toilets. This is, I think, an almost perfect dumbbell layout I've seen in the market. So when you look into all these things, you realize from the macro to the micro, everything kind of tick the boxes. And I tell you, Clayvon, it's not whether, because maybe some developments I'll say, hey, this is the 3-4 bedroom that you can look at, or the 1 and 2. I think over here from the 1 to the 4, or because it has also 5 bedroom, all these I are all very top choices. You look at the 4-bedroom. At Clavon Canopy, which is 1346 square feet, it is already a very, very good unit. Do you agree? Once you come in, got a dry kitchen on one side, you got your wet kitchen on the other side, you got a very nice landscape living dining because the view is fantastic on the high floor. You got a junior master, and then of course you got the master over here, and all the rooms can fit queen size bed. Once you see this kind of layout, it feels very, very comfortable. But at Clayvon, can you see they just top up another 10 square feet. So it's around the same square footage. But instead of giving you the same product, they add a study room. So they didn't squeeze everything to sacrifice bedroom space or what. Because I believe if it's a 4+ study or what, maybe one of the bedroom cannot really fit a queen size bed. Queen size, queen size, queen size. Even this master bedroom you see is bigger than this master bedroom. You see this, you must look at all these little details. Right, still a study and a store. And this store is bigger than this store by squeezing another 10 square feet. What is sacrificed in is probably the width of the living room. But in exchange, this is the more conventional, practical, vertical living, something like your normal BTO. You have a proper dining space over here, and then your TV living over here, which is fine. Because at 1356, you got a big proper store, and this store is somewhat accessible from 2 entrances, one over here and one over here. This is very typical. It's like a very flexi room, actually. I don't know if there will be aircon here. If it's an aircon here, then it's very, very flexi. You can even turn it into a playroom or whatever room, although you have a study over here. So that's why I say from the one study all the way to this 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, there will be a lot of demand because they have done it very, very nicely. Okay, so yeah, with that, I've come to the end of my sharing. Thanks a lot, man, for staying with me. I hope you have gained something. Of course, if you're keen, you're exploring in Clayvon, please feel free to reach out to me. I think there's more to that I can add that maybe it's more relatable for your situation, which I'll advise accordingly. And if you really like, if you're following me, please like, share, and follow my page. Next week, I'll be having a short break, and I'll probably continue in the following week or so. But do follow my page so that whatever updates, if there's any sharing or things like that, then you all can be updated. To be the first to be updated. Okay. So let me see if there's any questions. Yeah, I think we are done over here. Thanks a lot for being with me. Yes. Thank you once again, and have a great week ahead. Okay, bye.